Hello everyone, and welcome back to my craft room and here on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are continuing with our folio today, and today we're going to build the second part of it. In yesterday's video we did the base, the left side, and the right side. Now I did forget something on the right side, and that's a pocket that I want to put in, and I cut this from a die. And on the first one that I showed, it wasn't a die, it was just a angled pocket, but I thought this was so pretty, but I don't want to put that in until I put down decorator paper. So what I'm going to do for now is just lay it in. I might even take a paper clip and just clip it in so I won't forget that it goes there, and we'll put that on after we put some decorative paper down. My voice is still a little cracky, but bear with me. I'm hoping that it seems like it's worse in the mornings, but the mornings is the quiet time that I have to be able to create videos. And so it's a time that I like to come in here and work on projects like this. So just forgive my voice, and hopefully we can get through this together. So today we're going to concentrate on building the middle, and this is going to end up being a three-part video. And the reason for it being three parts: the first part I built the base, the right and the left. The second part we're going to build the center, and then on the third one we're going to decorate. So we will actually be putting all of our papers in and getting everything, making it pretty, and deciding where we're going to put pictures and, you know, our photos and what have you, journal cards, etc. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. The next piece that needs to go down, and it seems like, you know, that with the cover piece it would go down something like this, and you put this over, but we're going to actually attach this to the center back. So this piece measures, let me get my measurements out. This piece right here is, I think it's 5 3/4. No, it's 6 by 10 1/2. So 6 by 10 1/2. And what this piece is going to do on this 1 inch, you're going to cut it, like I said, 6 by 10 1/2, and you're going to score in two places, at 1 and 2. And then when you crease those, you're going to have this piece that looks like this. And what we're going to do is put glue on this first 1 inch section, and that is going to center right in to the top between these two score lines. So let's put some glue on it and go ahead and get this centered in. So what I'm going to do is I just want glue on this piece right here, that first 1 inch tab. Oops, I don't want glue there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to center it between this score line and this score line, and to the top. So what I like to do is bend this down and make sure this goes all the way up to the top, because you don't want this impeding anything under it, and everything's going to build under this. So as you can see, I got a little bit of glue here. I'm going to wipe that off, and then I'm going to take my bone folder and I want to press this down to make sure it is adhered. The other thing I want to do, and it looks like it is, it's impeding that score line. So let's lift it up. This is going to be a tight fit. See, that already dried that quick. That's why I love the art glitter glue. It dries so fast, sometimes a little bit too fast. Okay, that's going to need to go right there. You want to make sure that this can bend and that this side can bend, so it needs to be directly under. And then you also want to make sure that it's even here as well. And that looks pretty good, so I think that's going to work. And it did allow me time to move it. Okay, from there we're going to grab our next piece, which is going to be a piece that measures 9 1/4 by 5 3/4. And we have 2 score lines on the 9 1/4 inch side, and that's going to be a 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And we're going to do the same thing on that 1/2 inch piece. We're going to need to put it, and I'm going to bring my prototype over so you can see what I'm talking about. That piece is going to need to go right down on that second score line of the piece we just put in. This is the piece we just put in, and this is the piece we're getting ready to put in. So let me show you again. This piece is going to go right under that piece. And this, because it is a 1/4 inch smaller, you're going to be able to get that 1/8 of an inch on each side, or 1/2 inch. No, it's a 1/4 inch. So this is going to go right there, and then this will come up like that under here. So let's go ahead and glue this in. It seems complicated, but when you start putting it together, it's really not as complex as it might appear in the beginning. So I don't want you to be overwhelmed. That's the reason I took my time and put this together like I did. I didn't want it to be overwhelming. I wanted it to be something that anybody can put together. So get that all the way under there. Make sure it's not impeding that score line, and it's not. Make sure you got the even amount on both sides. Looks good. And then give it a good burnish. So now we have this piece in. The next thing we need to do is put our side flap. And this piece measures 8 1/4 by 6 1/4. And on the 6 1/4 inch side, we scored it at a 1/2 inch. And this piece is going to lay just like this, right here on the side of this, from top to bottom. So let's do the same thing again. Let's put glue on our 1/2 inch tab. The sense of accomplishment that you get after you finish a project like this cannot be described. It is just such a good feeling to know that you made something that looked so complex, and yet when you break it down, it's just one piece of paper after the other. So put this one just like that. Make sure it's nice and even. This does need to come over just a hair. And we're going to open it, use our bone folder, and get it creased down really good. Just like that. Now the next thing we need to do is we have the 2 side pieces that need to go at the top on each side of this, so they will lap over just like that. We do need to score them. These are 5 by 7, and you need 2 of them. And we're going to score on the 5 inch side at a 1/2 inch. So it's going to be a 1/2 inch here and a 1/2 inch here. And then they're going to go in like this. So let's get our scoreboard, and we'll score them together and then come back and go from there. So trusty little scoreboard right here. And I'm going to put the first one in. I'm going to try scoring with my Cricut tool, because the Teflon one seems to be a little bit too light for this cardstock. So let's see if this one does better. Oh, it's wanting to jump the track too. Anytime you're dealing with a heavier cardstock, you're going to get that. it's going to try to jump on you because the cardstock is so thick. So let's see. Half an inch. And a half an inch. Oop. It isn't going to matter because this is all going to be covered up with some decorative paper. So, all right, we have those two pieces ready. And let's go ahead and burnish them down really good. You always want a really tight score on them. This one too. And I am going to miter these corners just to take out a little bit of the bulk. And this is totally a personal preference. If you don't care for mitering, you don't have to do this. I just think it makes everything fit together easier and with a little less bulk there. Alright, so now we have these ready. Let's come back to our folio. And what we're going to do is we're going to take one and put it to the top of, not that one, make sure your cover's up. This is going to be top of that flap you just put on. So up to the top of it. And then this one's going to go over on this side up to the top. And it's going to give you a nice little opening, and you're going to see that we have just about got this album built. All right, let's put this all the way up to the top and all the way down the side. Make sure it's nice and even. And using our scoring tool, we're gonna, not scoring tool, but our bone folder, we're gonna just press that in really good. Now we're gonna do the same thing over here. So put glue on the half an inch tab. And then we're going to lay this one down right here on the right side of that piece we just put in. I don't know how it's been where you're at, but here in the South it has been so hot that you really don't even want to go outside and do anything. It's early and I walk to the mailbox and oh my gosh, our weatherman says it's the air you can wear, and it is so true. It is so humid, and already this morning early it's like I was going to check the temperature. It's almost 80 degrees. It's crazy. But, you know, it's the dog days of summer. We expect it here in the South, but still didn't make it any easier. Okay, we have those pieces in, and then this is the piece where our pop-up is going to go. We're going to build a pop-up to go in here. But again, this is going to be a piece we're going to want to decorate first. And we also are going to do a spinner right here. So I have our spinner piece already cut. We're going to also want to put decorative paper in here before we put the spinner down. But the spinner will go right here, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to we'll install this tomorrow when we do the decorating, but you're going to open this up and hold your hand under it. You're going to put this down right here, and you're going to come up in the center about right there. Might even be a good idea to put a dot there, so maybe about midway, like that. And let's draw a little line here and a little line here. That will let us know that we center it in between those two lines, and that we're going to punch a hole through this piece and this piece. And then our spinner is going to spin around like that, and that will allow you to open this up, but when you bring it back around, it will hold all of this shut. So that's going to go right there. It's another good place for a paper clip. Now let's cut our piece for our inside. Our piece that's going to go in here, that's going to actually pop up. And let me show you on the prototype what I'm talking about. The piece right here, this is going to be a piece that's going to go in like this. It's going to adhere here. You're going to put sticky tape here and here. And when you open this up, the tape is going to allow it to sit up like this inside. I think we're going to want to come up a little bit higher. Yeah, I put a dot there, but I think we're going to draw an arrow up to here and put it right there. That'll work. And you can see this is the pop-up, and I put a brad on it, and that's going to swing down like that, allow you to open these. Oops. And then you'll bring it back up and it'll close it. And then, like I said, we'll have the beautiful little pop-up here. We're going to put a couple of pockets right here. So we could probably work on the pockets and our piece that goes inside. So let's go ahead and do that. Just down that end of that. Let's go ahead and cut our pieces for our inside pop-up. You can see it's really coming together, and just imagine how beautiful this is going to be once everything is decorated. Alright, the next thing we want to do is I'm going to look at my scraps. I'm going to need a piece that's 8 by 5.5. So I'm going to grab another piece of cardstock, and I'm going to cut it at 5.5 on the 11-inch side. So let's put it in. Open your arm, come to 5.5, and give it a cut. And then we need this to be 8, not 8.5, so we're going to take a 1/2 inch off of it. And then we're going to need to score this at 4 1/2. So on the 8-inch side, we're going to score it at 4, and on the 5.5-inch side, we're going to score it at 1/2. So let's pull in our scoreboard and score it. So I'm in on the 8-inch side, and we're going to score it at 4 inches. So right down the middle. And we're going to turn it, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch on the 5.5-inch side. Just like that. And then we're going to fold this over, and we're going to miter this little point right here. And It's miter here as well. And then we're going to fold these back. If I didn't know better, I think this is probably 130-pound cardstock. It does not feel like 110. And I had bought 110 that felt like 65. So, you know, the nature of the beast. Is that a good burnish? As well as this. And then when we bring our album back over to put this in, but we're not going to adhere it yet because we want to, it's going to go in like so. And you want to bring it up as high as you can. So maybe right about there. And then you want to look here and see how much you're going to need to cut off. And see here, this is going to be hanging over. But I like to draw a pencil line there. And what that gives me is a place to make a little angle cut. So I'm going to lay it directly down. And I'm going to use the paper as my guide. Making sure I'm up to the top as far as I can go. Give myself a little pencil line and draw that down. Now that's telling me that all I need to do is cut I'm going to put a pencil mark right here. So I'll know that's where I need to put that. And this will fit in perfectly. So we're going to take scissors and we're just going to snip this off. And then that will lay in here perfectly, just like that. This is another piece we're not going to put in yet because I want to put down decorative paper before I glue it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another paper clip. And this will all come together once you see the entire album. Now we can work on our waterfall. We're going to do a waterfall in the very back of this. And we're going to start with the top of the waterfall first and then work over it or work under it. So the first one is going to be the largest part of your waterfall. Let me stick this piece back in my prototype so I don't lose it. Just like that. Alright, I'm going to get my measurements and then we will work on our waterfall. So let's close this up. And we're going to need probably, I still have for my 14 pieces, I still have 4 pieces left. So we will definitely use this for our waterfall. And I have all of the measurements for the waterfall. The large one is 3 pieces, the medium one is 3 pieces, and the small one is 3 pieces. Then I have each one and how many you cut of each. So let's cut our base piece first. So we're going to need 5.5. All of them are going to be 5.5 inches wide, but they're going to be different lengths this way. So I'm going to cut these at 5.5 on the 11-inch side. And on the large one, we're going to cut it at 7.5. These are going to be our 2 pieces. Yeah, these are going to be our 2 pieces. 5.5 by 7.5, and we need 2 of them. these are going to be our 2 flaps, and they are going to need scoring on the 5.5 inch side at a 1/2 inch. And then the back of our waterfall, the base, is going to be 5 3/4. 5 3/4. And this is going to be by 8.5, and this piece is also going to get scored at 1 inch at the top. So let's do our scoring. I'll tell you what, let's do all of our cutting and then we'll come back and score. So that's the 3 pieces for the large one. Now we need, for the medium one, we need 2 that is 5.5 by 6.5. So 5.5. And let's put these together, and we're going to cut them at 6.5. Okay, so that's the medium one. And then for our back, we need 5 3/4, and this isn't going to be wide enough. Nope. So we're going to grab another piece, and this needs to be 5 3/4 by 7.5. 5 3/4. By 7.5. That's the big one. This is the medium one. And then we need to do the small one. The small one is going to be 5.5. 5. Okay. So these 2 pieces, we can actually build part of our waterfall out of it. These are both 5.5. And we need to cut them to 5. That one doesn't look like it's the same size. Let's look at this again. 5. Reason that did not want to cut that little edge up there. So 5. About 5.5. We're going to actually need to pull one more piece of cardstock. So let me grab a piece. And the center of our piece is going to be 5 3/4. By 6 1/2. All right, so we're going to get our scoreboard now, and we're going to score some of our pieces. So our small waterfall, this is the piece that is 5 3/4 by 6 1/2. We're going to score it at the top, which will be right here. Everything's going to fall underneath this. So we're going to score this at 1 inch. So all of your base pieces for the waterfall are scored at 1 inch. And then our 2 side pieces on the 5-inch side are going to be, the 5-inch side are going to be scored at 1/2 inch. Done this side. That's okay. This all works. So there's the small waterfall. They're going to adhere together like so, and that's going to glue down into the back of our folio. So 1 down, and then we have our medium. So we know that this base piece is going to get scored at 1 inch. We'll come back and burnish all of these once we get everything done. These are going to get scored at 1/2 inch. That one is done. And 1/2 inch on this one. And then we're going to do our large one. I'm going to score it at 1 inch. And then these 2 pieces at 1/2 inch. And that's all of our scoring. Now let's work with our large one first. I'm going to go ahead and miter my corners. And I think I might even miter these just a little bit, just to take out a little bit of that extra bulk, because there's going to be a lot going on under there. So let's go ahead and put in our first waterfall. And like I said, we're going to start with the largest and work down to the smallest. So open everything up like this until you get to your back empty folder. And then the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put this down right to, make sure I'm telling you right, this is going to go right up to the top of that score line right there. So it's going to be over top of the first piece that you put down, which is the top cover. And this is going to go in just like that. And make sure it's nice and centered, because that will make a difference. So the most important thing you want to do is make sure it's centered between this and this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on my 1-inch tab. And then I'm going to take this and lay it down and butt it up right to that piece that has the 1/2 inch and 1 inch score on it. Put it in just like that. Make sure nothing is hanging over. Make sure everything will close easily. Come over just a little bit. And where is my... Take your bone folder at that point and make sure you give this a good burnish. Then what you're going to do is your top pieces are going to go on each side of this. So we're going to fold those score lines, burnish them down really good. And one's going to go here. Just like that. So let's go ahead and put glue on the back of this. Stick this down even to the side, top and bottom. Get a good burnish. And then we're going to do the same thing for the other side. So fold it, burnish it, and glue it. So we're going to lay it down, bring it flush to that, fold it over, fold it over, make sure everything's lining up, top to bottom, side to side. You do it inside and out as well. And now that is our first installment of a waterfall. Now we're going to go to the medium one, and that is this piece. So this one we're going to come down just under the waterfall we just put in. So the first thing you want to do is burnish your school line. This time I think I'm going to glue my pieces on first and then install it. That might be a little easier. Let's miter these corners. Alright, we got those mitered. So now let's go ahead and install these. And to do that, we're simply going to put glue on it. Hold it up and match it up from top to bottom, side to side. Make sure that's got a nice even fold. Using your bone folder, burnish it down again. Go inside and make sure you do it so you don't have any puckers. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to put glue on it and glue it to the other side. Oops. That made Toby jump. He's laying here beside me on the floor. And Bella, of course, is under my desk by my feet, as normal. Toby has a birthday coming up. He will be 10 years old on Sunday. So my babies are getting old and I hate it. But they have given me so much joy, and I'm sure they're still healthy, very active. They run and rip and play. So I'm hoping that I will be able to enjoy them for many more years, because they are definitely my little treasures. All right, now this one's going to go in right up underneath this one, just like that. And then when you bring this over, it will cover that one up. So let's go ahead and glue this one in. And like I said, you're going to line it up just under the last 1-inch piece that you installed. I think I like putting the sides on first, because then when you get this in, it's much easier to manipulate everything. And then this one is in. You do want to open it up and make sure that nothing is impeding your lines. You want it to it, but not over it. Okay, and then that one's in, and we have one more to do, and that is our little baby one. And I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to burnish and put it together and then put it in. So I've got lots of my little pieces that I clipped. So I'm going to go ahead and miter everything. I'll do the same thing on my little ones. So now we're going to bring this piece over, making sure your flap's to the top, and we're going to glue these down on each side. So we can call this a double flap waterfall because it has 2 flaps on each one of your waterfalls, which gives you some extra space for pictures, journaling cards, pockets, all kinds of things. So bring that up to here. Make sure everything is nice and even. And then we're going to finish everything down. Go inside and do the same thing. Wipe off any excess glue. And then we'll do the same thing for the other side. And put it down right here. Hold it up and make sure everything is lined. And now we're ready to put glue on this 1-inch tab, and this one will go just under that one, just like that. So let's put glue on this. If you look at it and you've got one that looks like it's a little bit off, bring it down into place. This happens, and take your bone folder and just work it, with these little pieces everywhere. Just work it back into the direction it needs to go. Yeah, that looks much better. So now we'll put glue on this one. And yeah, I'm using a little bit more glue than what I normally do because this is very heavy cardstock and you've got multiple pieces. So this one is going to go right here. Make sure everything is nice and tight. Raise it up, get up underneath it. Clean off any excess glue. And our folio is completed with the exception of maybe some pockets and of course decorating it. I am going to put a pocket in the very back right here. And for that, I just want it to be a regular pocket. So I think I'll need a piece a little bit wider than this. So I had my pockets, because I said on here that you can make 1, 2, or 3 pockets. Now, since I put this pocket over here, I didn't make one for there. We're going to do on this piece, we're going to do 2 pockets here, and I'm going to do 1 pocket here. So these pockets are going to be 3 3/4 by 6 3/4. So I'm going to take a scrap. We have lots of scraps left over. Get all of my little pieces and bits up if I can. Bring my trimmer over and we are going to we need it to be 6 3/4. By 3 3/4. And I think I'm going to use a die to decorate the top rather than doing a punch. So I am going to take I got these little dies right here. I think that one right there would be so cute. So we're going to use that first one. Just to give it a little decorative edge to it. I think it'd be really pretty. And it's stitched, which is always cute. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay this like so. And I am going to tape this just to make sure it doesn't move. I got some used washi tape here that I've been using. And I'm going to grab my little die cut machine. I think it will go through this one. Nope, we're going to need the big one. Could have did it through the electronic one. It's sitting here to my right, but I didn't. So we'll just grab this. I've got a lot of paper laying in the tray of it, and I just didn't want to disturb it. So we're going to bring this I think I should have cut it the other way. I should have did it. Yep, I should have done it this direction. You know what? We still will. Let's put it down and try it again. If it doesn't look right, we can always cut another piece of paper. I'm very gently taking my tape off. I think that's more what I wanted. So I'm going to use my paper snips, and I'm just going to snip across here. And then do the same thing over here. And you want to know something? This is really cute. This is how accidents happen and you find out different ways of using your dies. Look at this for a belly band. Look at that. Is that not the cutest? That would be so cute to use on the top of a belly band. And you could actually stamp a message in that little, now that was just a happy mistake. So, you know, don't get upset when things don't always go as you planned. Sometimes there's a reason. So that worked out really well. So let's see what it looks like in our album. And remember, we can always decorate it, which you know I will. Let's go ahead and score our sides and our bottom. I should have made it a little bit taller, so I may go back and revisit this, because I think it needs to be a tiny bit taller. Where, oh where? I'll try this. Oh yeah, it's much better, sharper. Oops. Toby. I'm going to snip these corners and just see. How this looks. Once I get it together, it might be too shallow. I do love it. It's very pretty like that. Let's bring this back over. Lift everything up. So that will fit perfect right there, and you could easily put something in. So I'm going to go with that. I am going to take a paper clip because, again, I want to decorate before I put the pocket down. When we come back, I'll probably have some of the papers cut so that all we have to do is glue them in, but I'll show you how to measure everything for this album and how absolutely adorable it's going to be. So that concludes this part of our video of building our middle, and I'll look forward to seeing y'all for the next installment where we're going to make it beautiful. Thanks so much for tuning in. God bless and keep you, and I love you guys so much. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so right now. Just go down and hit the subscribe button. When it opens up, you'll see a little bell. Ring that bell and you will be notified every time I put up a video. Thanks so much. Don't forget, if you like this, give me that little like, thumbs up, a little icon. Click on that. That determines on how much YouTube pushes my video out for other people to see it. So it is very important. And leave me a comment. I don't know you watched my video unless you comment. Thanks so much. Have a beautiful day. And until next time, bye-bye.